We're on 2 acres here in southeastern Ontario, and we have a long, narrow property. So I'm starting at one corner, and the property ends back there. I have 5 gardens to tour, and I'd like to take you along. I'm not going to make excuses for how weedy everything is. I'm just going to tell it like it is. I've been having problems with heart palpitations, and my health is more important than anything that goes on in this garden. But part of this garden is my mental health as well. So I do what I can and when I can, and the rest of it kind of suffers. And as you can hear, we have roosters pretty close. So this is what we call my garden on the hill. This is a garden we built last year with cardboard and then compost and cattle manure. And it did so fabulous last year. This year we have a lot of weeds because I haven't been out here as much. The best thing for a garden is a gardener. This here one in the front with the yellow flowers, that's pak choi that's gone to seed, and I feed that to the chickens, and they absolutely love it. A little bit further down we have some beets, some kale, some lettuce, and the chickens enjoy all of that. I do love beets and beet tops myself though. I have some San Marzano tomatoes. I kept certain types of plants apart in this garden specifically for seed saving. So as long as I get some seed saving out of this, I'll be happy. I've got some romaine lettuce here. That was just to fill in another spot of lettuce, and that's loaded. I'm going to be able to harvest that very soon. Here it is July, and I still have lettuce. Canadian crookneck squash. I was afraid these things weren't going to do anything. I still don't see any blossoms. I need to get in here and pull some weeds out so they can blossom properly. But that's my Canada crookneck squash. I have some Brussels sprouts starting to form. I will start taking those lower leaves off and feeding those to the chickens very soon. They absolutely love them. Step over a little further. We have some peppers, and they are getting blossoms on them. Everything is so slow here this year. I should have something on there by now, but not yet. This row is just weeds. I never planted anything in here, so there's a lot of pigweed and lamb's quarters and other things I haven't identified yet. And down at the end, there's a mullein. I've been harvesting leaves off of that. It's soon time to take the flower stalks off. I don't want that to go to seed any further than it already will. This bed, full of weeds, I planted 2 full packages of October beans here. I wanted October beans because you can eat them as a green bean, or you can eat them as save them and dry them and use them as dried beans later, or can them as dried beans later. I have 1 plant out of 2 whole packets of seeds. I have some sweet corn coming. Maybe not much, but it's a bit. Let's wander on to garden 2. Here in front of the house we have a circular driveway, and we have a garden bed in there. I could fill this entirely with garden, but this telephone pole makes me a little nervous about planting too close to that. One of the first things I made sure to plant in this garden was my elderberry. I have 6 trees here. They were all planted the same day. This little wee tiny one, it's like it's tiny. All the way over. I don't know why. I don't know why they got taller and taller as they came back from that road, but this one is quite tall. That's my arm extended at chest level. So this bush is as tall as I am. They were all planted on the same day. I think I see some elderberry tincture coming, and maybe some elderberry jelly when these ripen up. It depends on how much we get. Believe it or not, these 4 beds in troughs here, they have been planted 3 times each. This one is cilantro. I do have a few little plants struggling there. This one is beets. Again, a few little plants struggling there. 3 times I planted this darn thing. this one doesn't look like anything. Let's get up close and have a look. That's going to be carrots when it gets around to it. And equally, 3 times this was planted, and I've got weeds in it, but I might be able to get some calendula out of there eventually. I have some rhubarb. I have an empty patch that I haven't planted. I have a volunteer tomato plant in there. And then I have a few more tomato plants here. These are cherry tomatoes. I planted this as my quick eating garden. This is for salads and greens. I'm going to come around to the other side. So there we have more of the tomatoes. And I've had a successful crop of lettuce. Here it is July and I'm still getting lettuce. We're still getting cool nights down to 17 or 18 degrees. I have some kale that will be chopped up for soups and stir fries. And in the back I have radishes that have gone to seed, more romaine lettuce. I had planted peas. And they didn't take off, so I planted a second go. And I'm getting them now, July, and I'm getting peas. Everything here is really late, even in the heat of the summer. It's really warm today. But there I have some peppers. These are habanero. I'm trying to, again, to keep things apart so they're not cross-pollinating. Okay, let's get into garden number 3. It's right here next to the house. I have to get out here and weed this one too. I have hostas and grasses. My hose outlet, and I have peppermint next to that one. Is that peppermint or spearmint? I'll have to look for a label. Is that peppermint or spearmint? Let's have a smell. Ooh, definitely peppermint, or definitely spearmint. Oh yes, definitely spearmint. Here I have my lemon balm. I expected it was going to grow the way that mint does and it was going to take over the bed. Not yet, it is bigger, but it's still taking its sweet time. Over here I have some sedum and lavender. I have garlic chives that have gone to seed. I have harvested a bunch off of that. I have a standard garden thyme. If that other mint was spearmint, this one is peppermint. I tried to keep them far enough apart so they wouldn't cross. I have milkweed. Last year I left in 2 milkweed plants and allowed that to grow through the season. I did end up with some monarch caterpillars on it, and I thought that was fantastic. This year at the end of the season, those are coming out. I have thyme. I have lots and lots of thyme. I have lavender. I missed the harvest on that. I should have trimmed that back and harvested. I can still trim it back and help it to grow to a bigger bush for next season. And here I have orange mint. This is a standard mint with a square stem. This one is red in color, and the edge of these leaves has a red border, a brown border around it. This is orange mint. It smells like bergamot from Earl Grey tea. I have planted this in several gardens. I just love it. Now let's just go over here to garden number 4. I have this lovely poplar tree and lilac bushes, and I get lilacs for jelly every spring. The previous owner left this pile of rocks in the backyard, so we used the tractor and moved them out here with the help of my 2 sons, and we made ourselves an herb garden. This area was difficult to mow because of the hill, the steepness of the hill, so why not use it and make lawn care a little easier? Let's go closer. This is going to be my tea garden. I have hibiscus, I have yarrow, I have wormwood, I have borage, a few other things, rue. I have chamomile. This is the first time I've ever grown it. I'm quite happy with it. And then I have a little teeny tiny plant of stevia and some basil. If you have a look, just in front of that barn where the grass line is, that's the edge of our property. And we've come that far down the property already to here. Now we have some rock outcroppings and a rock ridge that's in the landscape, and I'm going to go down the hill to this area. Garden down here was completely filled with weeds, very much like what you see in the foreground here, and we had it tilled to make this garden in the back. This area in the foreground is full of wild grape. I would love to get in there at the end of the season and train those up so that I can grow domesticate them a little and fertilize them and tame them and see if I can get a harvest of grapes off of that. We had this area tilled in the springtime. You wouldn't know it now, but we've been able to keep it mowed, and our gardens are, plotted out, but they're still full of weeds. I want to do something more with this, but for now, this is what it is. This season in my life, this is what it is. Let's get closer. We have some cabbage. They're not doing a heck of a lot, but being eaten. Then some weeds, and the next row over, we have tomatoes. Can you see there? I'm getting some plum tomatoes on there. And there we have some more plum tomatoes in there. Here in this plot, my husband planted corn. Some of it's doing well, some of it's not doing so well. These were all planted at the same time. We've been taking the tractor through here. Dan has been taking the tractor through here with the drag harrow and keeping the aisles at least straight between the beds, but the weeds are getting out of hand again. The mower is our best friend. I have beans, but they're only coming to flower now. These are my drying beans. Oh, there might be some beans on this one. Woot woot, we've got some beans. Considering how much this has been neglected, I'm really surprised we're getting anything. I'll save some seeds first, and then I will harvest the rest for actual meals. I want to make sure I have some decent seeds. We have some more cabbage. Yep, we have some cabbage, but we have lots of bugs too. That's neglect on my part. But look at what's right beside it. Our potatoes have already blossomed, and some of them are starting to die back. So I started over there, and I've come up this middle path, and I'm going to swing around this way. Amongst all these weeds for the next little section, I've planted my squashes. I have 4 hills of pumpkin, and I can't tell which is which. I have 4 hills of acorn squash and 4 hills of spaghetti squash and 4 hills of zucchini and 4 hills of butternut squash. We are getting blossoms on these. Oh, I'm happy to see that. We're getting zucchini. We've had a few already. I'll leave that one until tomorrow or the day after. We do have a guest right now, so it would be nice to send some home with him. Uh-oh. We have a big zucchini. That one has to come off today. Here in this last row, I have some green beans, actual fruit on the vine, green beans. Yes, there. I'll harvest those tomorrow as well. Just to let you know how stunted this year is, These are indeterminate vining tomatoes. They should be huge. They're not even up to my knees. So there we have it, guys. We're starting to get our harvest, and my garden behind me, even in amongst all those weeds, we're still getting some produce. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for sticking around. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. It helps YouTube to see me just a little bit more. Thanks, guys. See you next time.